Today, after a nice weekend at a lovely village in Walkington, go to Beverley quite a lot. I like the Yorkshire people actually, and quite a few demonstrations in Difffield. I'm going to Bridlington. Well, we're going this year, but it got cancelled, so we was doing a demonstration on a Friday and a workshop on the Saturday, but it got cancelled. So anyway, the place we went to is very close to both, and I think I may use it again for when things are something like back to normal. So it is a good spot for getting to Bridlington without paying more extortionate prices for hotels. Okay, so that's one of the reasons we went as well. Lovely village, yeah, lovely weather as well. We had a bit of rain, but it was a bit dull in places, but when the sun came out, it was beautiful. So I'd like to live there actually. Anyway, that's for the future. So this is a picture that I took. Not this one. This is similar to it actually. Took at the cottage right on the village pond, which is next door to the pub actually. So a great place to live. You just walk out of the house, nearest pub, the Babel, and I just thought it's a lovely picture. Very nice colours. We can simplify that a bit. So yeah, somewhat similar to that. We've got quite a bit of salt going on, trees. Yeah, letting the paint run. There's a lot of warmth in here, so it's like alizarin and sienna, or terracotta and whatever. You sketch it out. Loads of textures in the trees, so it's something like this kind of thing going on. Yeah, there's no wall on it, so that's okay. We've got a gate, some nice shadows on the floor. There's a bit of tarmac at the front. I don't think I'll be bothering with it. I'll just have a bit of depth to it. And this is the house next door, actually, with a drive. So that tree just kind of place it behind the houses, and that brings out the colours. So that's quite nice. Anyway, plan of action, watercolour, lovely. Throw that away. Put my glasses on. See who's here. Pam, yeah, good. Marion. Anyway, only person here today is my son, Richard, upstairs. We've actually started, every time I start a video, starts getting ready for some reason, and starts talking on the phone. But never mind, we'll suppose you leave him. So this is the picture. We're going to sketch it quite rough. We're going to use a pen as well. Because you're looking uphill at the photograph at the house, the horizon line's quite low down. I'm just kind of trying to get this so it's not bending, because it's bending the other way. Okay, so just a few bits of blue tack, stick it on the board, keep it so you can see it, make things easier for yourself when you set things up, yeah? So you don't have to start mauling about using one hand to hold something and then move something and what have you. So if you get it easy, so you're looking straight at it, and then we can actually look at the horizon lines or whatever. I would say the bottom of the house is actually on my horizon line, which is about a quarter of the way up. So if that's half the way, it's about a quarter. I can draw a line straight across, because that's going to be the house, the base of the house. And all we've got from there is you can just see the vestibule and this tree which is coming in from the right hand side. But everything is going up to the front of this, where the vestibule is, which is about here. So in the centre of your picture is going to be the apex of that cottage roof. And it's actually going away. So when we do this, the angle, and then as you're coming down to the horizon line, you're going less and less, aren't you? So you've got this angle. Okay, and that's going behind the tree anyway, but you step down there and there's another house behind it going away. You can just see the skylight, and there's trees behind that as well, so you can just put those in. There is a bit of a roof of a garage here, which is on the right hand side with some terracotta type tiles on it. and then not much going on there, can't see much. And then as we get down to about halfway down the house, which is here, you've got the just off centre, right, to where we can put the vestibule or the lean-to, which goes in shadow like that, which disappears behind this tree. If you want to put the tree in, because that's going to be a slight angle, we can get this shape, which is something like that. I'll keep that on the paper. We don't want that to go off. So you've got this lovely warm colour of the tree and the textures here as well, so we can just add that. And then all we can see is this the side of the vestibule, and then the window about here. That's it. So once you get that in, we've got a kind of base for putting everything else in, which is where the window comes in. So we've got this angle of the roof. Make sure that is the correct angle as well. And then as you're coming away, it's going kind of quite steep. And the back of the house is always further lower down than the front, because that's the part that's nearest to you. So, you know, you're going to be looking up at that. But because this side is further away, it's lower than that. So we're coming down to here, aren't we? So if we do that, get the correct angle first. Make your roof overlap. This is the kind of lean-to, and the shape at the other side, which kind of blends together, so you can't actually see it. And what you've got on there is a climber, and then this big tree, which is probably going to go off the picture, that one, just to get this shape around the house on the other side. So if I put the window in here, like that, just this shape, quite close to the vestibule, like this, yeah. And then align the other window just below it. You don't have to use the weight of the paper for, you know, the white window frames or windowsill or anything like that. You can always put them in with a bit of goulash later. And then we've got some plants and pots, shapes like that. And as we come from here, there's a bit of a little conifer there, which looks like it's in the foreground. And then from here, we're actually going, if you do a straight line, right to the corner, like that. So that would be his driveway, and then the other part of the drive, the nearest part, is there. You can see? And then that's the tarmac part of the drive, which actually then leads you to the gate post. So we can put that in, because that links your foreground area to your background area. You've got the corner of this lean-to, which is about here, and then we've got this shape. I'm not sure what it is. It's quite dark, that, so you can cross-hatch it. And then we've got something here, looks like something on the wall, like that. We've got some hanging baskets, so it's just a shape, and a few, I've got my glasses on, still can't see a thing. Little shapes of things, nothing too fussy. Alright, and then this way of the garden, it curves around here like that, so you got this shape. You don't actually have to have everything in. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars, like a 5-bar gate, yeah. So that's another thing. And keep it straight up and down. Alright, so we've got 1, 2, 3, so keep them simple like that. 3, 4, 5, so you're going down to the floor. And then you've got a bar going straight across. Okay, when I use my pen on that, I'll get rid of everything else. So you can see this tree trunk, it's coming up to this part of the house, and then there's another tree at the side of it there. So this one is lower down. The chimney, just put that in. Front of the chimney going away there, and back of the chimney going that way, it's going away. And then you've got the chimney itself, which is something like that. If you wanted to just cross-hatch this area, it just helps to get the positioning. You've also got a lovely shadow coming down from the door. You want to cross-hatch that bit, and where the roof overhangs, the chimney just goes down the roof slightly, and then the top of the roof is kind of nice and straight. Just make sure you get the angles right, and then the trees you just paint around the houses. It's not much cloud in the sky, so that's good. We look at the other place, it's about here. So we do our straight line, go to about the, because keep this area on the drive for the house next door, which disappears about here. So this driveway comes like that. And you've got a really nice shadow coming across from that, going across the pathway and up the wall, like that. And then this thing, the wall, as you look up to it, it is coming down. You've got a roof there, and then this is the apex, and then you've got a step here. So this one comes down to about here, like that, and then you get that roof. So it's very, keep them simple shapes, possible. Don't make them too complicated. You can actually see the garden wall behind us, things like that. But here we've got the path, and then if we want to just make sure you get angle of the fence and the gate post like that, going that way. You've also got the gate as well, going that way. And shadows are really important because they take you into a picture. If you've got them, use them. Yeah, something like that. There is another post there, but because they're so close together, they become one. So here, you've got a nice shadow there, which is coming from a fence, which we can't see. You've got a gap in it, like that. There's a bit of sunlight, dappled sunlight, and then this is coming to the tarmac bit. But from here, this is where the tree is, and it's casting a shadow on this path and just into the greenery on this side. Alright, so keep it nice and loose. I'll just use a pen, and then once I'm happy with where things are, with the pencil, then you use the pen just to put things in like that. So then you can rub all your pencil out, which is great, isn't it? Yeah, of course it is. Anyway, green mate, back on Monday, that'll be good. Watercolour to start with. I've got your programmes if you come in, and I'll just print some off for you. The things are in place for security, COVID secure. Yeah, put the window in there. I forgot to put the window in. It's a different house. Fence posts, lots of light, bit behind it, lovely trees coming around the side of the house there. I'm going that way. Same there. You don't have to put all these. And then that leads me to the roof on this one. So you do get the roof always overhangs. See, that's the overhang, yeah, to create this lovely drop where, oops, not straight line there, and then the water runs off your roof, doesn't it? Not down the walls, where you get damp walls. Back of the house, front of the house, into some climbing stuff, some dark stuff, bit of cross hatching, whatever that is, something like a box. These are the light window frames, one upstairs, there's actually, and then this one with the terracotta roof on that one as well. Front of the building, looking at that, and straight down, and then you get a shadow coming that way, then you get the other window. These are just actually kind of squares, which you can paint those, just leaving white gaps if you want, but then again, you can use some goulash later. So it doesn't really matter. The angle of your drive, and then some lovely shadows here, like that, and a gap between them, going that way across the tarmac, and the shadow of a tree, and this tarmac. So that's, and then we get the window here, like that, and down the side, like that, and this lovely tree, which is just giving you these really nice jagged edges, to give you that green, light green. Just a bit of that roof showing with that thing, skylight, sorry, the brain's gone blank. And the terracottas here, which have got something like that. And the shadow here, and then the greenery of all this, which is going to be a lot of salt and stuff. Lots of dark areas so we can actually cross hatch a lot of that as well. Alright, get on the fence post here, nice and straight. Keep the fence slats nice and straight. If we put this in, because it's in front first, and then don't forget to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down to the floor, because that's going to be casting the shadow. And the gate is open, yeah, slightly. They always say I leave the gate open so people can come in. It invites the viewer into the picture, but you don't have to do, because a lot of these people like the gates being closed. Alright, so that's the fence going that way. Get the angle right for the shadow, which is coming slightly that way, sorry. I need to get it right. And then this one's going slightly off to tangent, like that. And then that's a nice shadow that blends the two together. Bit of concrete, but like I said, I don't think I'm going to bother too much with that. The shadow here, across the road from the trees and the greenery behind. Cross hatch, plot, plant pots, looks like it's got something stood up there as well. That's that green thing. Lots going on here, so we're not too much to you know, try and create lots of details. We just want to do loads of kind of a bit of grass there as well. Anyway, stop dead. We don't have to put all the everything in. We will go by some of the darks. When I've done a few lines in the sky, we don't want to see those, because that tree's okay there. And then we've got some wires actually. So if you wanted to put a wire in from a telegraph pole, which is actually going to the house, but it doesn't matter. Let's do it with the pen, and then you'll be able to see that through it, won't you? Top of the roof, like that. Wall, gate. So the gate's going to be nice and light. Yeah? That's about it, really. Okay, throw some paint at it. So colour wise, what can you see? I can see all sorts. If you do your warm colours first, which is your warm greens, terracottas, which is going to be warm. This is a bit of yellow as well, so we can use warm yellow. Pick not a lot of that, just a bit to kind of make your sienna nice and light. So I pick up a lot of sienna, mix a lot of water with it. That on its own gives you lovely sunlight effect, yeah. And then we've got alizarin, so we're putting the alizarin on, just like that. Ultramarine. We're going to use a bit of cerulean blue as well, so my ultramarine. Keep the cool colours away from the warm. You can help it, and they get contaminated, don't they? So we want the colours to be quite clean. Okay, so we pick that up. Get some cerulean blue or some viridian green, which is that. And then we want some cerulean blue, which is that. Okay? Excuse me. Okay, we can mix that later for the sky and do the sky around the house. Bit of cerulean blue, not too dark the sky. So first thing, big brush terracotta. If you use some kind of yellow, lots of water first, and paint this side of this wall, which is nice and warm actually, like that, which comes into the floor. So we keep the floor quite light, and then it comes forward, and as it comes forward it goes warmer and alizarin, so we add that to it. We put the same thing on the drive, although it's a bit like cool colour, because we've got this alizarin and then we've got the warmth and we put that on the drive and add a bit of salt. Don't forget your salt. I haven't took the top off yet. Throw that on the drive. It'll give you texture before you start. Yeah, a little bit of splattering techniques. Give you some blue stuff, terracotta, and then we're going to use a lot of the warm colour for some alizarin, and we can use this for the roof, the side walls and what have you. If you want to leave gaps for your windows, that's entirely up to you. But then you want kind of thicker paint, so the paint is actually, you know, not as light as it would be if you had more water. Because if I had that kind of terracotta, can you see? So I can put that in the chimney. We can go down the side of the house because it doesn't really matter, and we can take that into that tree because it's more or less the same tone, and it's quite dark here as well. So we're going into this green as well, and I want to get this really nice light tone. So here we can go around that. I'm going to say go around it. I've just gone over it around that part of this step down roof, and then we've also got some here as well, so we can track it down onto the. So you're doing it all in one kind of go. Pick that up and put it on the top of this terracotta of the lean-to, yeah, like that. So a lot of sienna in this as well, you know, and alizarin. So the house itself is going to be nice and warm. Again, paint round most of the plants if you want to, and just leave gaps. So that goes in the trees, so it doesn't really matter because the tree's going to go over that. But while the top roof is wet, I'm going to just add a bit of alizarin, some blue, add it to it to get this kind of lovely feeling for the tiles on the roof, because we can't actually paint them all, but we could make them quite dark, quite rustic. Yeah, rustic is the word. All right, that's the kind of correct tone for the background. Anywhere you've got lights, or anywhere on the front wall where you've got the shadow of the roof, you will get these slightly darker, although it doesn't look it on the picture, but slightly darker areas. And keep that lovely warmth, like that. Sienna, alter your brushes. If you're doing detail, move your brush. Yeah, like that. Do a bit of splattering. If you've got colour on your brush, keep it safe. Bit of splattering with water, and then I'm just going to start. I'll leave that a bit. Take the blobs off. You don't want them running. Yeah, that could go down into this bit, and then put some salt into that area. Now the next thing I'm going to do is greeny, sienna kind of colours, which is this tree, but not all the tree, because what I want to do is create the warmth on the tree. We've got one there as well, so that's at the back of the house, and there's one here which is darker, so that's kind of just put that in for now. I'm going to paint my sky around it after, so it's not a lot of sky there really, it's just around the thing. I'll paint over this tree, and that's the darkest one on the picture, and the other one is slightly textural, a bit of splattering, and then get down to this, all this area, because it's a lot lighter and warmer there, isn't it? So I pick up the warm yellow like that, splat it into it like that. So loads of salt. You've got warm grass as well, and then we're going to add some. I'm going to add some darker green while it's wet and while the salt's on it, just to pick up. So if you use Viridian and a bit of blue like this, and then drop that in, especially around these areas because it's dark, and then just drop that in to give you the shadows. I'm not bothered about that tree yet because it's a different colour. So you look under this shadow like that. So that's blue and green. Bluey green, not newly green, bluey green. And this one goes up to where the grass is on the side of the road there. The side of this I mean, it's going to blend together on its own, which is good. And to go darker, we can add a bit more red later, but a bit more sienna-ish colour just here. Yeah, and so we add a bit of alizarin to that. It's gone quiet now, yeah, I don't need to shout. Add a bit more alizarin to that, a bit of splattering to create nature. The thing is with nature, it's higgledy-piggledy, yeah? So we want to create this higgledy-piggliness where everything's moving away from you, things like that. Use a bigger brush if you can for now. Alright, and let the warm colours, or the dark colours, blend into the warm to create that texture. A bit more salt. It is running on the floor, but more salt will actually stop it running as well. Get these lovely warms in there. Okay, put that down. We've got lots of warm colour at the top of that roof as well. And this tree, like I say, I'm going to leave that till later. So quite like that now, we'll leave that. The detail on the house, we're going to leave that for now. And we're going to start adding the darks, that's the main thing. The fence, you're painting the dark bits behind the fence, so we've got a bit of kind of blue and sienna, which gives you then a dark kind of burnt umber feel to it. So if you mix blue and sienna, so you've got this like a greyish tone. I'm just going over the fence a little bit, and then we can paint around it later. Paint inside the I can leave that one because it's quite light, and that's quite light as well. And then I paint around this fence later where the soil is. It's just a nice little shape going into the floor. Terracotta, not terracotta. It's the shape of the gate first. Again in the background we've got nice bluey kind of grey and sienna colour, and it's actually on the soil, so we can put it in the soil like this and then just drag that towards the gate, and there's a bit there as well. And then we've got this lovely turquoise colour, which is a bit of cerulean blue and green, which is part of this shape, and a bench there if you want to put that in, behind the fence there, behind the gate, sorry. A bit of splattering, oops, gone in my roof, got in there. I've got carried away, sorry, don't want any on the roof, not bother about the sky much, you can turn them into seagulls. Alright, it's nice to do watercolour, just to, where are we going? Still going, yeah, still online, good. I'm having an update with my internet, so hopefully things will be a lot better, because it looks like this is the future, as well as classes in locations. Yeah, so I'm just going to do the sky colour. Just take out, clean a bit of palette, because I'm running out again. And we might be better actually. I've got some more clean water. Just get me clean water, clean it, put a brush in, and then we're just going to wet the sky around that type of thing up to the roof. So if you've got a lot of kind of obstacles in your way, you can see how that's just run down. You can go over this. Just use the water as a tool to give you, to bring the colours down. So if you stop the water on top of the roof there, and the same around, if you want a small brush, you can use a small brush. Use clean water and then go around that roof, you can see. Take it into the trees, so that's just clean water in the tree, like that. Try not to have a lot of blobs. So when I put the sky in, it's just going to run down to where I've got it. It doesn't really matter about this tree too much, because that's going to be a lot darker. So but I do want to keep this texture on that area. If you splat, it does get quite wet there, and if you splash with water as well, you get a nice thing. So I mix some, you want a big brush, mix some cerulean blue, like that, with quite a bit of ultramarine, but then you want quite a bit of water, like that, yeah. Make sure it's fully mixed, and then we're just going to drag this across the sky, like that. And again, I'm not bothering too much about having any kind of clouds, although we can make the sky lighter as you go down to the horizon, because that's what happens. Yeah, you can paint around that, so that tree is going to be darker anyway. And as you're coming down to this area, we're getting less of the colour, more water. Yeah, if you want to use a smaller brush, by all means, just so you can get the detail. So just, you know, you don't miss and start painting the roof. So that is a lovely sky behind the tree, like that. Just the detail of it. This one doesn't matter too much because you can't see much there. I can drop a bit more blue in that and let it run. I don't have any clouds. You've got to create airplane lines and whatever you've got, paper trails. Now's the time to do it. You just lift off, do some vapor trails across the sky, lift off with a brush, or you know, whatever. But the less you do to skies mainly, the better the look, so you don't want to be mauling about too much. Just keep it slightly darker at the top. Don't start adding loads of water, because you'll just make a lot of blobs and you'll end up with cauliflowers. Oh yeah, not a nice thing to have in the sky. That's quite nice now. I need the sky to dry. So while it's drying, I'm just going to concentrate on a few other areas that need just a bit more tones to them. It's like if we look at this, it's just a little bit darker than the house. So it's got this like terracotta look, brickwork, if you like, darker brickwork. Take that down and blend it in. And your roof. So I'll go across, just be careful here, down the roof like that. Just a few lines, not too many, just to bring out some of these shapes, especially as you get to the edges, yeah. Then don't do a lot, just kind of leave that nice soft. Take off the blobs, get a nice light. So what I do, while the house is part of me area I'm painting. What time is it? 1:30. I'm just going to paint a shadow at the side of the house. So we can use quite a bit of waters and blue. Yeah, and we've got alizarin as well. So because it's already alizarin, so we can paint the shadow on this side of the wall. You can also paint it on the chimney. Just be careful you don't run into the sky too much, if any. So you've got that lovely shadow on your chimney. Okay, and then take it under the arches, like that, all the way down to the apex. I know there's some light areas there, but you can scratch those out actually. I haven't put the climbing plant on the side of the roof yet either, so I know about that. I'm just putting in these little shadowy bits, which will help now. So as we get to this roof, you've got quite a bit of green there. Try and keep it away from that purple. And then I'm just going to add shadowy green, which is green and blue, usually, yeah. Green and blue. If you want it really dark, like I said, add red. And then at the side of the house here, we've got this lovely dark kind of climbing plant. Okay, and then I can take that back into the purple, same purple that I'm using for the house, because that is a shadow on the wall there. And then just bring that down to the bench, which is still wet, so I'll leave that for now. So we'll come into the floor, okay? And you've got some of these shapes. It's got like a little round area. Shadows are going to be there anyway. There's a black thing here. It looks like it keeps plants in. It's got legs, yeah. You can add. There's a thing here and there's a shadow on the wall, so we can add that. If you want to put plants in, you know, some red bits, or you can do a few splattering bits like this. Turn them into plants, worms, yellows. Anything that's going to bring sunlight. The terracotta at the top, because this is going to be quite a lot of alizarin and blue actually, because I can throw some salt in there actually, because I want this top of the pathway here is a little bit blue, because it is in shadow, and if you throw salt in that, you'll end up with a few pebbles, can you see, that actually blend into the rest of the path. So we'll leave that for a little minute. Work around the front door. So this is kind of dark. It's all dark actually. So we use the blue like this, and then we'll come down here across there. So because it's white, it's going to be kind of blue. Yeah? So we put the shadow in, the window in the door, and then it disappears into everything that's around it. So can't see anything there. If you want to add darker tone, this is what we do. It's a bit more alizarin and blue, less pigment. So the bit on the wall's quite dark there, and then you got a line going across where the roof is. Inside the window, underneath the vestibule window, yeah, that's on the wall as well. We've got the same thing happening here, but I want that to be nice and dark. So I have a bit more shadow there, and then a bit more shadow here on this under the roof. So what I can do, because it's wet, so I can have a scratch out and just take a few of these little posts, little white things underneath. They're not actually white, they're blue, but just scratch them out, or you can just put goulash in if you want to touch it. And I just get that lovely shadow side of the house. It's going away from us. Okay, got a bit of, and then at the front I'm just using a bit more alizarin with it, because I want it to be darker but not too dark, so I can just go across here in front of the window and then into the trees. So we've got the same thing happening there. We've also got a downspout. So we keep the blue and drop that in here and there to give it a nice edge and more depth. Yeah, right where the corner of the house is as well. If you could have some more kind of depth there, that brings out the corner. Yeah. Well, there you go. I've done quite a bit to this house actually. I should be working around other areas. But what I'm going to do is just strengthen this roof on this one, because it's a little bit darker because of the terracotta. That's okay, I'll keep that in the distance, right? And then here there's something on the wall, I'm not too sure what it is actually. It's just like a plaque. And then it's quite dark underneath, so we can use the same alizarin and blue. I'm just looking for shapes, really. All sorts of little shapes, you know, nothing too fussy. Just kind of plant pots, anything darker than anything else. That's it. And then we're still online. Yeah, still here. Good. And blob here and a blob there, and a little blob here and a little blob there, a blob there, a blob there. As part of the the grass or the side things coming up there. Alright, so just adding a few textures, or a few dark shapes, nothing too much. Just make sure you get some of these blobs off, because if they start running, you're in trouble. You're not in trouble, you're in more kind of goulash mode. So like that, if you like goulash. A bit more Elizabeth Herbert sienna on chimney and across the roof. Let that blend a little bit. Just because I want it to stand out against the sky, really. Okay, we'll try and do the towel. Anyways, we're coming down now, we're getting to some lovely darks behind this this fence. So I can add the darks here, the shadow, you see, and there's like a gap between the gate and the fence. Put that in. You've got a tree trunk there. You've got this blue area. The tree trunk's quite warm actually, so we just put a little bit of warmth on there. Nothing too brown, if I can help it. And I'm just painting a bit of detail behind the door actually, just to give me some behind the gate, I should say, not the door. Just to give me some definition where because it's dry now, so I can pick out some of these, the dark bits in between the posts on the gate. Yeah, like that. Just to give me the lights. That's alright. They're not all dark, they're just kind of different shapes or different shades, but entirely up to you. Just bring out that fence post going down like that. Lovely dark. This is the little bits of detail that kind of make things just stand out a bit. You've got a shadow on the right and left hand side, because the light's coming from this side, yeah? So you've got a shadow always on the left. You've got light there, you've got dark here, and you've got this here and there, here and there. And that's the bottom of the gate. And then we're going that way, so I cannot actually see that. So I'm just going to put a line in where the other fence is. Okay? And I'll take the shadow, because the other house is unimportant that much. I'm just going to paint the shadow along the wall, like this, and then down the wall, like that, and drag it across the road, yeah, not the road here, the road there. Drag it across here, so you're getting these lovely kind of little shadows. You've got a lot of zigzags there. I'm not doing all of them. I'm not painting their house, I'm just doing this guy's. It is, well, I saw him come out, that's when I'm coming back. He was doing some gardening. So here we've got the shadows coming out of there for this lovely fence post. There's something else there as well. All the way down. And that's actually going into this bit as well. So we drag it into there and then take it across. Okay, and we can leave it. I think about shadows, they do have light areas and dark areas, so because it's facing the sun there, we've got more of a light area like that, and because that's going away, it's slightly darker here, so you can drop some more blue in. And we're going to like just take out a few as it goes across. So you get reflections in shadows, don't you? Yeah? As it comes up the wall like that. Alright, all I have to do now is put some trees in the background. I just put a bit of texture here going down the drive. So I'm using the paper for that really, because it's a little bit darker there where he's taking his car up the drive. Yeah? And then add a bit of alizarin and blue, just to do a bit of green, sorry. Just to do some of the dark shapes, so just underneath the roof on this one. It's the dark bits that start to bring things together. We can do the sky there actually. And you got downspout side of the house, that should be red actually. And then the top of this wall, a drain pipe coming off his garage, which is there, yeah, and then this dark wall, and then this is this, could do that, somewhere, could do this kind of zigzag thing, why not, adds a bit of interest, a bit of it anyway, and then it disappears up here. So that's where the trees are going to be afterwards, and the top of the wall. Alright, so the writing tree first, because this is still wet, so we've got sienna, alizarin, just to give us a browny, yellowy browny kind of greeny colour, if you know what I mean. Because this is this tree, which is this lovely kind of colour. Big brush, this is my filbert, right? I'm going to throw lots of water, salt into this. So I want that to be a sienna-y and yellowy colour as well. So it comes out from the background. It comes out with this warmth, see? Like that. And hopefully when I throw more salt on it, it's going to create the textures, and then it's going to stop dead where it is, not run like mad. Another tip is just to use thick paint like that and drop it into the light areas, or the wet areas, and it does stop it running because it kind of soaks it up. Yeah, so you just have to be careful with this. It's nice and dark against the sky as well, so you get these little lights and darks, some of them hanging over, can you see? Just a bit of splattering that way and down there like that, because that's where it hangs over, and then we can just put the shadows in there. I do like doing trees, I didn't used to do that. Shadows on that side, get some salt, throw it on your tree, leave it. And as we're coming down, got to the warm greens, and then we want the cool greens, so we've got bluey green, not huey green, bluey green. Yeah, add any water, add a bit of red to it, and this is going to give you these really nice shadowy bits. And we can use this for the tree in the background as well. Just use the side of your brush just to give you a dark shape. Okay. Let's take a bit off just to keep it soft. Give a bit of texture there. You see? Well, that just brings out the top of the roof there. Yeah. That's all I want it for. Add a few branches. Use your fingernail for a few branches. Not important there, so it doesn't really matter. And then, so as you're coming down there, I want more water. That way. Quite a bit of water. And start looking at these shapes. So a lot of it is that kind of thing. So I want the dark to stand out behind the warm greens. So that's what I'm doing there. Especially here. So you've got like an area that's got this lovely warmth. If you're a great believer in using goulash as well, you can use that just to put in some of the lighter areas later over the top of the dark. Yeah, that's okay. And as you're coming down, this side is quite dark against the road as well. So I'm just going to blob in, great technical term, blob in some darks like that. Leave the shadows. Use some different greens possible, like this, up and down, and then that way. So use some directional strokes, you can see, like that. So they get in the plants growing that way. Again, we've got this lovely dark area. We've also got grass, so you can do that. Just lift up with the grass. Use a bit of yellow and green to give you some kind of warmer colour. Again, and here, because it is warmer. Get the textures. You don't really want any white much. You can put flowers in there if you wanted to, but you want to create these lovely darks. I'm adding a bit more red and green to give me the contrast. So if I squint now, I've got really strong areas on this side going away from it. That's going to be quite dark. I can't see much actually in that area, and I can't see much here actually, apart from terracotta roof bit like that. And that goes down to the side of the garage anyway, and that goes down to that. And just leave it. We can put some more salt in, add a bit of green, go that way, shadowy greens, yeah, like that. A bit more salt will stop it running, you see. I've got my big tree. I've got some seagulls, or little birds, and my big tree in the background. Same principle. Warm colours first, so it's yellow, green. Okay. And we do the same thing, so we can go off the picture like that. Leave gaps. You want to see the sky through the trees as well. Yeah. So you want to see the sky here. A bit more darks. You'll use this side of the brush just for the warmth, the warmer greens. And that's coming down this side of the building. Yeah. Let's put that in. Keep it nice and wet, okay, so you can concentrate where you put in the darks. I let the darks run into it actually. Yeah, add a bit yellow. There's quite a bit there as you get down, and that blends into shapes around the fence post and top of that. Yeah. So we'll go across the wall at the back, and then we can just leave a gap. Leave a bit of a gap and a dark space after. Right, so that needs first sienna and green mixed together, add some blue. So here, look at your picture, I've got these really nice dark shapes. You can see them, yeah, on this side of the tree, and let it blend. Leave your whites, because you need the whites, yellows I mean. I haven't put any salt in. If you put it in now, it will start creating a lovely texture. Salt. I get a little brush as well. So we can do these little kind of loose branches, loose leaves. So there's a little bit of red and blue and green mixed together, like that. A bit of splattering, just to give you the shape of the tree. Yeah, we do a bit here as well. Shape of the tree, nature. Okay, nature. Darker colour, thicker paint. Especially down here, around the fence post, down to the drive. And just let that do its job. And that starts to bring out other tones that are not dark enough, you see. So because that tree is quite dark, and you start to realise that some other areas are not dark as they should be. Just blend that in. We add a bit of alizarin to that, it will just kind of blend into kind of brick. But you don't have to do it everywhere. Let's leave that to soak into the shadows on that side of the house. Yeah, you'd have reflected lights there anyway. And then your green here underneath that climber, just something like that. Again, top of the path. I'll take you up the path. Okay, I've got some nice alizarin, not alizarin, but sienna, ultramarine, sorry, what time is it? The brains are going. And I'm going to paint the windows with ultramarine. Not too runny, but not too dark. You want it to be reflecting the sky. So that window there is reflecting the sky. Yeah. Next time I go back, I'll take this one and see if he wants to buy it. I'm joking. And then I paint the panes of glass. Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to leave a white bit. The side of that, this dirt bit. We're getting a few shadows around pots. Things. Is that a few shadows? Take that up the drive to the front door. And the window. Just put that in. That's a dark. Let's go a little bit darker up here because it will cast a shadow on the window. It also steps back. Okay, quite like that actually. Have the shadows into the tree. Leave that a bit. Window on the left. Again, it's the same principle. It's just blue. And because it's not as important as the house on the right, we can do the whole thing. Let it dry. Keep that angle nice and dark. Into the shadows again, because it's going nice and dark here. Up the road, up the street. Yeah. Anyway, I can't get over very good. You're painting in the style of, what's his face? Christian Hook. Eat your heart out. That's some crackers, isn't it? So yeah, you've done very well. It's just so good to look at some of these styles and get a feeling for how they actually work. Yeah. So, because I'm not doing the tarmac, I'm just going to paint the shadows on the drive here. And because it's dark and I've got salt there, I should be able to get this really nice tree shape coming out. On the right hand side, you can just see it going across the path. Leave some light bits for dappled sunlight. See? If you did just a big black patch there, it wouldn't look right, would it? Quite like that. Stand back. You could use a pen now to do detail if you wanted to kind of sketch in things. There's no end to it really. It's all about capturing the light really, which is what we're doing. because this is thick pigment and it's quite wet, then I can drop that in and it will create these really deep shadows like that, especially around the sky. I'll make the stars stand out and the shapes of some of these branches coming out like that, and some darker bits within the tree. Just blob it in, as the technical term, and leave it to dry. Yeah. Put this. I wasn't going to do that. Carried away. I've got a cracking painting the style of on Friday. Someone else I like. I'm sure you'll have heard of him. So the foreground here, clean a bit, clean the palette. What time is it? An hour. Clean the palette, a bit of sienna and alizarin mixed together. So what I want is to create this kind of texture just here as it's coming down from that the drive here, because that'll bring that forward. You can use salt again. Water. Anything you like. If you want to do it in there, I think it does help when you've been to the location, doesn't it? It would have been lovely stood outside this house painting it. Right, next straight to the pub after. But you think you're alcoholics, but we're not, just like pubs. Alright, we've got the same thing happening here. You can put really dark alizarin and green, mix it together. Actually, very strong pigment, you see. So the shadows there, it's just going to bring the light out on a few of these warmer tones. You can leave some white, no matter. And a bit of depth here. So I've left a bit of grass just in the foreground, so be careful with it because you can make it look stupid. And then for you goulashes, get a bit of warm colour, add some yellow to the goulash, yeah, and then we can just kind of splatter to bring it forward. I'll splatter there, just to give us some sunlight. If you want to do some in your trees, fine. Careful where you splatter. Okay, and this, you can just darken this a bit if you want to. I quite like it where it is, but I do like the sky behind, because it's quite dark up here, isn't it? So that brings the sky out a bit. So you just add it. The gaps. And that's the light. So you've got a run there, but it's not about it because it looks like branches. And the tips of your branches are always going to be slightly darker than the inside. Okay. If you're a perfectionist, you can start lifting off as well. If you're not, you can just, oh, there's something else I've missed. That's it. If you look here, we come down the wall and these shadows are actually going across from the path, some of them, into his garden and then up the wall. Sometimes they help, sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's a bit too fussy. Let's take it off again. I'll leave it. Okay, I'm going to stop, take the tape off. Sorry about the bit of, if you heard anything, that is. Shadow there, dark window, a lot going on there. We can add a bit more warmth at the top. Okay, he says doing something else. I'm just gonna add just a little bit of dark to where the edge of the path is. So it down there makes it forward. There's areas I will finish off. I'm going to finish it. It wants to be darker just on the ridges to bring out the edges of the house. That's meant just a little bit, I suppose. Not too much. I haven't finished the window, but that doesn't matter. Alright, take tape off. If it's still there, everything's quiet, so if it's still taping, yeah, still taping. Watercolour. It's a bit wet and shiny at the moment. Nice colours in it. So have a go. That's all I can say. And put it online. Let's have a look. And I'll see you Friday. Get up. Bye for now.